It's so cool. I really love it. What the frick, dude? Today I'm going to show you my absolute favorite plugin or Max for Live device, VST, whatever you may call it, for bass sounds or subgrooves. It's called Flechtwerk. Really German. Let's dive right in. This is the groove that we have prepared. Basically just a kick and a top loop combined, and now I would like to add a bass sound. And the reason I'm making this video today is because I've been asked a lot, like, what's your favorite bass VST, subgroove VST? And honestly, I don't have a favorite. If there's something that I do really like, is this device that I'm about to show you. It's called Flechtwerk, which is like the most German name ever. It's a Max for Live device, which is for free. I just opened up their website here. It's by Turner Music Technology. It says that it's based on the Plates. Plates is a pretty famous module, or Eurorack module by Mutable Instruments, which looks like this. So it's basically an emulation of this little hardware module, but for Max for Live, integrated into Ableton Live. And they also seem to have implemented the code into the Arturia Microfreak. There seems to be something special about this guy, so I want to test it out. I've also seen Silat Beksi, like a minimal house artist, use it in one of his videos or his tracks, and I thought I might check it out. I really liked it. So if we load it onto a MIDI track, I'm just going to redo that actually. So you can just download the device and drag and drop it into your project file, into an empty space, and it'll automatically put it into a MIDI track like this. I'm going to delete the other one, call this one bass, give it a red color because I like when my bass is red. And now you could theoretically just play around with your keyboard. Or you could draw in some MIDI notes. And if you're lazy like me, you could also use a sequencer like...
I hold at your neck the Gom Jabba. Poison needle. Instant death. The test is simple. Remove your hand from the box, and you die.
What's in the box?
Pain.
Yeah, you could use a sequencer like Sting by Ifta, which I have abused over the last few months. It's basically a MIDI note generator used for acid bass lines, like you know, those kind of sounds. I know, guys, I know, I've used it so much, but please let me use it once more or a couple more times. It's really fun. And if you want to lock it to a particular scale, you could go into MIDI effects, type in scale. You do get a couple of scales, but in Live 12, you can just load the default scale devices, which is at the very top, and put it right after the Sting or the sequencer. Again, sequencers are just there to generate you results if you don't have any particular idea yourself. You can also draw in the notes, but we're going to do that using setting. So this is how the scale device looks like in Live 12. You could either just scale lock it here, which will automatically lock it to the scale that you have set above globally, or you could disable this and select a custom scale here. And right now it's C user. Let's say you want to go for something more Middle Eastern, then you could select Phrygian or Phrygian dominant. Dorian is also a really cool scale. Try those out. Just try yourself out. See what comes out. So Phrygian dominant, for example. Make sure that the Sting is also set to the root note of C, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, and then you can just tweak your parameters here, tweak the length, density, hit that smiley. Right now it's going to generate us a sequence with 16th notes. Play that with the rest of a groove. It sounds like this. Like the sound of it already sounds very modular, like it's an actual piece of hardware, which I like about this particular Max for Live device. And it has a very simple interface, and it's for free, so you can't really complain. What I'm going to do is just hit clip here because I don't want to use the sequencer anymore. I just want to work with MIDI. I just hit tab, take the MIDI that is now generated. So again, if I hit clip, it just generates me different clips in this session view. Let's stick with clip 1. Drag and drop, put it here, and now we can disable the sequencer because we don't need it now. We also don't even need the scale. You know, we already have the MIDI. We don't need that. We don't need that. So what you can do now is basically just double click the MIDI, opens up in a new panel over here. You can take the notes and edit them yourself. If you don't hear them while you click on them, just hit headphones above here. See, this one's way too low. Pitch it up, shift arrow up, right? There we go. And you see these blue grid lines, they're basically just affirming you which scale you're in. Right now you can see that it's set to C major, which is the global scale here. You could also change the global scale to match the scale of this particular generated MIDI sequence, which is Phrygian dominant. And you see that it automatically changes, and we can just customize the notes, right? I don't like that one. And maybe we could also delete a couple notes. Perfect. Let's say we want to stick with this sequence. So what we're going to do is then Shift and Tab to move out of this panel and drag this looped MIDI clip along the entire timeline. And for this to work, you have to make sure that your sequence here is looped. So you could also hit Command A, make sure that all the notes are selected basically within this highlighted range here, and then hit Command L to loop it up. And here's where it gets really fun also for sound design, because you can mess around with the different wave tables in the parameter of the plugin itself. Right now we have it set to the basic shapes, which is the first wave table over here. And you can just switch yourself through these and see what comes out. Like weird stuff, really weird stuff, dude. Get some weird gritty noise. It's so weird. It's so lovely though. So let's continue to switch through these waveforms. You can even get some clicky artifacts, which can be great to fill out your groove and just create like these offbeat kick rhythms, you know? Listen to how it sounds. Even that can be usable in a track. It's just lovely. It's so cool. You can mess around with the frequency here. And what I really love doing is going to Modulators tab, which is new in Ableton Live 12, by the way, and search up LFO. Before, you would find this in the user library or somewhere else, depending on where you saved it. Yeah, just type in LFO, search up LFO and see where you can find it. And what you can do is just click map and map it to the individual parameters of this Max for Live device. Right now it's set to remote mode, I think. Just click here and then it automatically does it. Yeah. Now before it was in modification. And now it's in remote. So now you can see that it's moving by itself. You can just decrease the depth because we don't want the range to be that intense. Also maybe decrease the output here so we get less movement, right? Maybe more. Barely hear that. What happens if we select a different waveform? It's so cool. It's so cool. I really love it. What the frick, dude? This is just the waveform alone with the frequency not being modulated. I haven't even used the other parameters here. Now let's click on this kick one. This seems to be a kick. Disable LFO perhaps. Or we could enable LFO and just turn on mod so we still get control of the parameter, which is new in Live 12, by the way. It's so fun. And you get this chords mode, which can give you some interesting results. But probably not if we modulate the frequency, so let's disable the LFO. Great for lo-fi house and, you know, the Chicago house type vibes. What is this here? Snare. This seems to be a snare. Okay. Let's click on this little robot guy. Yoy. So you see the possibilities with this are truly endless, and it's freaking fun, dude. It's really fun. So let's stick with, I don't know, which one did we like? I kind of like the kick one. It's really, really weird. And now if we dial down the frequency here, perhaps. See, we get more of like the sub groove. And if we modulate that frequency using LFO, get those kind of modular-ish, techie, low sub-range grooves, if that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. It should. And then you can also change the harmonics and mess around with the sound. And here's where it gets really sound designy, where you can just test out different knobs and see what comes out. And you can just open up the multi-map parameter of LFO, click map and map it to harmonics perhaps. That's cool. And you can map it to basically whatever you want. You see how many controls you get over here? There are even some controls that open up that I have no idea what they do. But just try it out. You can also change the decay, make the sound longer. Okay, never mind. Also has frequency modulation, FM, which is just great to have. So if you're into really gnarly, squelchy, bell-ish type sounds, you can try yourself out with this FM knob as well. And once you have something you like, you can just create a new audio track, hit Command T, can then select your bass track as your input here, where it says external input, just select bass, record on this track. You could let it run through for basically however you like. You see it's recording audio now. You can also tweak along the way. Change your waveforms. Yeah, you could either let it run through a second time or stop it. Hit Command Z so it undoes that overwritten recording here. And now you can just basically mess with the audio. So you can disable the MIDI track, go into 16ths and chuck out the favorite parts of the audio that you like. So you could just maybe take this section over here and either repeat it. You know, it's really that simple. You don't have to overcomplicate it. You can just take whatever you like and loop it up, take the rest of the audio, maybe put it somewhere else, save it in a separate folder. We're basically just generating results and tweaking or picking the favorite parts of those results. And if I'd feel like it, I could just start progressing into the next stage of the track now. So I could then look for a pad or something like that. And I am currently working on a new sample pack, a new production suite, better said, called Sinai. It's inspired by Arabian vibes. It's gonna be really cool. We could stick with the key of C. Let's see if this works with the bass line. Since we use C Phrygian dominant for the bass line, let's see if we can use C minor as a pad. Yeah, it does kind of work. Sounds kind of odd, but why not? And if I'd like to have a bit more grooviness, bounciness, then you could just load up a compressor and type in compressor, go into audio effects, put that onto the bass channel, into the resampled audio bass, open it up here, sidechain, input from kick. Now we dial down the threshold to our liking. Dial up the ratio so it becomes more intense. Infinity to 1 is really, really harsh. So each time the kick hits, the bass is being reduced in volume. Perhaps we can pull it down even further to our liking. You see how the groove changes? It's not dum da dum dum da da dum. It's whoop boop whoop boop. Yeah, that can be cool. Then you can just copy the compressor, put it onto your pads channel as well if you'd like separate sidechain settings here. Maybe dial up the threshold. Listen to the pads. Ooh. Now it moves with the bass line. Yeah, that's basically how we do it. Really fun. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. Grab these sounds on LotusTunes.com. I will see you in the next video. Peace.